When you're separated by distance, sometimes it's worth it to fill that void with a video call. Because eyes are the mirror of the soul, and they will say more than any words. It will allow you to feel each other for a moment truly during the separation. One look can replace 100 words. A video call is like a window into the other's life through which you can feel their presence. But don't turn it into a routine. A couple calls a week, no more, or the magic will fade. People are used to hiding behind texts, exchanging dry words, forgetting that real connection is when another person's voice cuts through the silence of your loneliness. So less texting, more talking. Immerse her in your everyday life. Show her what's really going on in your life. This doesn't mean recounting every little detail. Record a short video showing how you feel, what you see, where you've been. Visual contact breaks through the wall of distance, making the other person feel like they're part of your world, and not just a set of symbols on a screen. Flirting is the oxygen for your relationship. Without it, your relationship will turn into an empty, endless series of meaningless conversations that mean nothing. Play with it, add fire, sometimes fanning it, sometimes letting it cool down so she feels a slight chill. Don't be predictable, but don't go too far either. Without vivid emotions, your relationship is doomed to a slow death. Find a reason, however insignificant, to stir her feelings a little, to remind her that a relationship with you is not just a daily rite of passage. But what really keeps you together is the hope that one day the distance will fade away like fog at dawn, and you'll be close again. That hope is your anchor in a stormy sea of doubt. Make plans together, paint a picture of your future together, but don't get hung up on one scenario. Fantasies, like everything else, lose their power over time if you don't feed them with new details. Next, keep a close eye on her engagement. If her responses to your messages become rare, dry, and short, if you feel that she is distancing, mirror her. Relationships are a game of balance, and if it's broken, it's important to notice it in time and course correct. Otherwise, one wrong step and it could be the beginning of the end. She could be busy, yes, but you won't know it, and therein lies the danger. At times like this, it's important not to rush into proceedings. Just now you reply to her message in an hour or two. Let her wait, just like you waited. Sometimes that's helpful. Then you can return to the conversation as if nothing had happened, but do not forget you observe, you draw conclusions. To strengthen your long-distance relationship, you need her life to become inextricably linked to yours. Herein lies the key. It's not just about planning a future together. It's about tying her destiny to yours. Your plans should be so intertwined that she feels part of your world, not a guest in it. You both need to become an inseparable part of something bigger, where one life without the other is meaningless. There's one privilege in a long-distance relationship: the absence of routine, the very everyday life that eats the relationship from the inside. Communication with you should become a refuge for her, where she can return to hide from the grayness of reality. There is no room for negativity, irritation, or routine, only positivity and support, so that even on the darkest day she knows that when she opens a message from you, she will find joy, warmth, and a smile. But don't be seduced into thinking you can keep it all under control. There are always risks. Sometimes things fall apart suddenly when the focus of her attention shifts away. There's new company, new hobbies, something bright that starts to overshadow your plans and dreams, like the sun hiding behind the clouds. Everything that once seemed important fades, loses color. Stories about how a woman, fascinated by her new surroundings, suddenly loses interest are all too common. You may think that everything is stable, nothing threatening, but one day everything changes. A new man appears, and what was yours disappears. All of this leads to the main conclusion. If a relationship starts to crack at the seams, it's not about distance. Distance only reveals the hidden cracks that have always been there. If your long-distance feelings don't stand the test of time, then they weren't real. Ask yourself a simple but important question. Why do you choose her? Why not another woman who is closer to you? If you don't have a clear answer, if all you can say is, well, I love her, then maybe it's that cracked foundation. People often confuse fleeting emotions with something more, dramatize their inability to be together, and create romantic illusions for themselves. But the truth is that distance is a mirror that shows the true essence of your relationship. And most of them won't last long. Is there any point in clinging on, in trying hard to glue together something that is already cracking at the seams? Personally, I look at it this way. Imagine that you have an ancient musical instrument that you inherited, but there are rumors that one of its strings is loose and may break. You have two ways. Either keep it carefully in its case, afraid to touch it, so as not to disturb its fragile state, or play it very carefully, fearing that one of its strings may break. But I would prefer the third way, to play the most powerful and passionate composition on it. If the instrument can withstand it, then it is really valuable and nothing will happen to it. And if the strings do break, it is better to find out at once and understand how to deal with it than to live in fear that the instrument will fail at the most inopportune moment. It's the same with relationships. If you have maturity and a clear understanding that you really want to be together, no distance will ruin your relationship. But if it does, rest assured that distance has nothing to do with it. It's just an excuse that hides the real problems. Such a relationship would be doomed without any distance. So you need to ask yourself a direct question. What do you really want? To live with an illusion, to cling to the hope that somehow everything will work itself out? Or do you want to know the truth, no matter how bitter it may be? If you choose the truth, then relax and be ready to accept it. After all, it's better to face reality than to live in constant uncertainty. It's important for you to realize distance alone doesn't destroy a relationship. It only reveals hidden cracks that have been there from the beginning. There are situations when a man, after several years of living together, is forced to leave his woman for a long period of time. Such men often begin to blame themselves, their decisions, thinking that if it were not for this damned distance, everything would be the same. But that's a mistake. If a woman can't cope with loneliness, knowing that you left for a while not of your own free will, then it's worth thinking about how suitable she is for a serious relationship at all. Sometimes it's better to find out the truth sooner than later and see who your woman really is. But there are also funny situations. These are stories when people see each other only a couple of times, and then begin to quarrel and break up at a distance, while claiming that their relationship needs saving. In reality, it's not their relationship that needs saving, it's their common sense. They hardly know each other. We get to know a person in everyday life, in real actions, not in correspondence about high matters. Why do people go for this kind of long-distance relationship? Because they try to convince themselves that they will be able to preserve, strengthen, and keep what was already in doubt from the very beginning, even though the facts are that it's a road to nowhere. But despite this, people cling to illusions, trying to hold on to what is doomed. In my opinion, one of the most important qualities for creating a strong relationship is the ability to make clear and firm decisions. If you can't make up your mind, it's not just a lack of consistency, it's a sign that you're adrift, not knowing where you're going. It's time to take stock of your actions and their consequences. Nocturne's Journal, September 2nd, 2024. End of entry.